I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom Health and Wellness series featuring one of the top, if not the top, naturopathic physician in our country, if not the world, Dr. Peter Glidden. This is a conversation that Peter and I have that we provide to you in these videos every other week, and we've been doing this for the past 6 years. And the purpose is to focus on your health and wellness and provide you information you will never get through the bought-off lamestream fake media, never get through the medical industrial complex, from your doc, from the insurance companies, from big pharma, from big medicine, from big government. This is about your health and wellness. And we focus a number of our presentations on the feedback we're getting from you, our listening audience. So we have been getting a lot of feedback and a lot of questions and a lot of concerns of folks saying, look, what's happening around the world? What's happening financially? What's happening politically? What's happening geopolitically? What's happening with these wars? I'm constantly stressed and I'm constantly tired. And what can I do from a nutritional standpoint to alleviate these issues, to try to minimize my fatigue, minimize my stress? Now, for those of you not familiar with Dr. Peter Glidden, as I mentioned, one of the top, if not the top, naturopathic physician in our country or the world. In addition, he's a fantastic researcher and a fantastic author. His books, Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine, should be the foundation of your medical library. They are of my family's. In addition, Pete has a website, leavebigpharmabehind.com. At operationfreedomhealth.com, we have a wealth of information. Pete also provided a free video about the 12 bad foods to avoid, which should be a foundational piece of information that you implement on a daily basis. And we also have products available that we talk about. And the purchase of the products, full disclosure, does benefit this platform so we can continue to do these videos. To make life better for you from a financial standpoint, if you put the code FREEDOM as the discount code upon checkout, 10% of your entire order will be discounted, the price of 10%, with the discount code FREEDOM. On Peter's site, he goes into incredible depth on all of these issues and has a subscription side to that platform where he hosts seminars with his subscription group, incredibly important. And today we're going to discuss about stress and fatigue and what can be done from a nutritional standpoint. It's my honor to welcome back Dr. Peter Glidden. Pete, welcome back.
David, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you. I look forward to it.
As do I. So, Pete, let's talk. We are just getting bombarded with people saying, look, I am so fatigued. I am so tired. It's wearing down. They're wearing me down. The syndicate's wearing me down. Their operations are wearing me down. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. And I'm stressed. And they say, I don't want to be taken. So we have had breakthroughs here. I don't want to be taken big pharmaceutical products. Nutritionally, what do I do? Okay, Pete. You're the expert.
Well, all right. So there's a lot of things to do in this regard, and however, I will tell you about the supplements and why, specifically in just a minute. Because it's like in England, at tea time they drink tea. Why do they drink it? Because there's stuff in the tea that gives you energy and it helps you deal with the stress of life. Right? Mm-hmm. That's the known thing, right? We drink coffee here in this country for that reason. That's a botanical medicine. Tea is a botanical medicine, right? It's interesting when you think about it like that. So there are, in fact, things that you can do with supplementation to help your body handle the stress of life, right? Mm-hmm. Now, because I'm a naturopath and because I'm a holist in my orientation, and because I'm a naturopath, there's something that everybody overlooks. And the nutritional stuff is very important. And without the nutritional stuff, you're kind of be going around in circles. Mm-hmm. But in Japan, interestingly enough, medical doctors will actually prescribe for their patients something called Shinrin Yoku, which is forest bathing or taking in the forest atmosphere. Because and there have been all kinds of studies done with this, before and after bloods and everything, right? Before and after blood pressures, everything. When you simply go and hang out in nature, doesn't have to be the forest. Go to the beach, go to the mountains, go to the desert, go somewhere. Your stress levels come way down. Just from being in the presence of Mother Nature. That's it. No diet, no supplementation, no special devices needed. Just go spend time in Mother Nature, lie down on the grass and watch the clouds go by. Whatever it is. So if you're stressed out, which everybody is now, this weekend, get away somewhere. Go someplace where there's not a whole lot of people, or preferably no people. Big natural setting, whether it's the coast, whether it's the mountains, whatever it is, and spend a whole day just in nature, taking it all in. Leave your cell phone in the car, for goodness sakes, when you do that. Because it's very effective, as specifically at helping to deal with the stress of life. I mean, and most people have had similar experiences when they come back from vacation, right? That they feel rejuvenated. And it's of a similar ilk, but this isn't going on a Carnival cruise line and drinking yourself into oblivion every day and having free food that you pig out on. This is different, but it will help you to deal with the stress of life just by getting away and spending time in nature. And it's interesting, I think, that the Japanese actually have a term for it, and it's actually a prescription. The doctor will write a prescription for their patient to go and do this, so the patient can actually take time off from work and do this. It's remarkable, quite frankly. It's very effective.
Hey, you know what? I was just thinking back, when I was seeing patients, every once in a while I would write a prescription for some guys who were big golfers, and they would say, I said, I asked them, well, you've been playing golf? Well, no, I've... My wife doesn't want me to. I got to do a bunch of yard work, so I write a script. Must golf once a week.
Here you go.
Boy, I'll tell you, I used to get a lot of grief from the wives. Holy cow, right? But here I was. Actually, I was kind of ahead of my time, or maybe behind time. If you look at the Japanese, they've probably been doing this for centuries. But it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. That's the reason I golf. It's not so much. I mean,
nature.
There is.
You're nature. It's a nature thing.
It's you get out and you spend time with nature. It is.
So actually, if you hit your ball in the water hazard, that's actually a medicinal act.
It's also why people love to hunt.
Yeah, good point.
It's not so much that they like killing the animal.
No, being out there.
Or that they need the meat.
Out there. Yeah.
It's just being out there.
Yeah.
It's
same with fishing.
Same with fishing. I think it's even more so with fishing.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a real thing, man.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to note, here's a fun fact to know and tell, that the number one reason in the United States that people go to the doctor's office, I don't have enough energy. It's the number one reason that people see the doctor. I do not have enough energy. So this is not a super stress time thing. This is a human condition thing. And why is it a human condition thing? Because here's how many nutrients the human body needs. There's my invisible tank. Here's how many nutrients the human body has. And even normal stress of life, right, burns through your reserves. Now you're running on freaking empty. And you wonder why you don't have enough energy. Well, it's because if your car runs out of oil, the engine seizes. Right? It's the same thing, and the tragedy here is that nobody was taught this. So the simple solution to the energy thing is you got to just fill the tank up. That's all you got to do. Nothing else extracurricular you need to do. You just give your body the nutrients that it's always needed. And we do that through the virtue of the Healthy Foundation Pack, which is 4 supplements put together in a very sophisticated fashion, which makes them super easy for your system to absorb.
Which is a key.
And which is key.
Yeah.
And which gives you 100% of your essential nutrient needs, which you cannot get from food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a game changer. And we know we gave the foundation pack to 10,000 people over 9 years, and 83% of them had a remarkable turnaround in their health.
Just with the foundation pack.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Second thing and third thing to do is just take the foundation pack, for goodness sakes.
4 components of the foundation pack. Just, you want to list them out?
Yeah, I can bring them up here. It's a product called Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which is a multivitamin, multi-mineral, antioxidant, prebiotic, probiotic, sulfur-bearing molecule supplement. It's in a powder form. Beyond Osteo FX is a liquid calcium, the most absorbable calcium supplement I've ever seen. It doesn't just have calcium in it, but that's the big ticket item for that product. Mm-hmm. Plant-derived minerals. Did that one product all by itself?
Mm-hmm.
It gives you 66% of your body's nutrient needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the fish oil capsule, which gives you your omega-3 and your omega-6 essential fats. This is called the foundation pack for a reason, because it gives your body the foundation nutrients that it needs just to work the way that nature and God intended it to.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody needs to do it. Everybody needs to put warm clothes on when they go outside into cold weather. Everybody needs to drink water. Everybody needs to breathe air. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to eat food.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more thing everybody needs to do: take the foundation pack, period. End of story. Now, this is an interesting story, or there's a backstory to this story about extracurricular stress,
mm-hmm.
which we are involved with now.
I'll say.
There was the school that I went to of naturopathic medicine is right here. It's called Bastyr College.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Bastyr University
mm-hmm.
of Naturopathic Medicine. And it was named after Dr. John Bastyr, who was a pioneer of naturopathic medicine in the early 1900s. The guy that founded, and in the naturopathic medicine in the early 1900s was on its ascension. It was rising up, and there were a lot of naturopathic practitioners. The busiest medical clinic west of the Mississippi was in Spokane, Washington, and it was run by a naturopathic doctor called O.G. Carroll. And it was the busiest medical clinic of any type west of the Mississippi. And why was it so busy? Because they got results,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Mm-hmm. But then Big Pharma comes along in the early 1900s, 1912, and by 1920, at the very latest, all the competition to the allopathic MD pharmaceutical way was trashed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the alternative quote-unquote practitioners were kicked off of the bus of medicine. The chiropractors, the osteopaths, the naturopaths, the homeopaths, and all these professions had to claw their way back, right, just to be licensed. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that naturopathic medicine was on an ascendancy, and then it took a nosedive after the Flexner Report and the consolidation of medicine by the AMA and the pharmaceutical industry, the Carnegies and the Rockefellers in 1912. So it was in the 1980s, early 1980s, that naturopathic medicine started to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the leaders in that revolution was a man by the name of Joe Pizzorno, Dr. Joe Pizzorno. And Dr. Joe Pizzorno, with 3 other people, founded Bastyr University in the early 80s, and those people were almost solely responsible for the rebirth of naturopathic medicine in the 20th century,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And naturopathic medicine is what it is today because of those people. Dr. Pizzorno's inspiration
mm-hmm.
for becoming a naturopath was a book written by a European doctor. His name was Hans Selye. Mm. And Selye wrote a book called The Stress of Life. Mm. And Selye actually coined the term stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
he kind of birthed that term. And from Cellier's point of view, there were two types of stress: eustress, which was positive stress like exercise, and distress, which was negative stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Cellier did all these remarkable experiments with rats. And he would have a control group, and he would have the experimental group. And the experimental group, he stressed them out by giving them electric shocks. Mm-hmm. He'd line their cages with electrical voltage, and every time they walked across, they got shocked, and they were all stressed out. And the other group of rats were not. And then they did that for a certain amount of time, and then they killed the rats and they autopsied them. And the adrenal glands
mm-hmm.
of the stressed out rats
mm-hmm.
had shrunken into like raisin sizes. They were completely atrophied. And this was in the early 1900s that Cellier did this work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really kind of the first scientifically method proven research that showed that stress
mm-hmm.
had a physiological response. It just wasn't in your head.
Right.
It just wasn't a psychological. It was actually a physiological thing. Stress would do negative things to your physiology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was because of that book that naturopathic medicine was reborn. So we have a very interesting history as a profession with the whole stress thing. And because one of the primary organs, which is overly affected by net negative stress, is the adrenal glands,
mm-hmm.
which sit on top of both your kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have adrenal support.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really excellent way to provide your body with adrenal support. The Foundation Pack
mm-hmm.
and the Good Herbs Adrenal Support Formula,
mm-hmm.
which is a really sophisticated combination of botanical medicines, which was, by the way, that particular recipe of the herbs, the botanicals that are in that formula,
mm-hmm.
were figured out by looking at thousands of years of write-ups from botanical medicine people all around the world. Because the botanical medicine world in Europe in the 19th century was gigantic. And of course in the Orient it's been a thing forever.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Good Herbs formulas aren't just, let's try this.
Right.
That was figured out by looking at all this research and connecting the dots and, if we add this to, let's do this too. We should. That's how they figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why that particular company is one of my favorite companies with holistic medicine in the world. Not only because of the way that they make their stuff, but because of how they figured the recipes out,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is a big deal. So the Good Herbs Adrenal Support, during high stress times like right now, my recommendation would be to get 3 bottles a month and do 4 milliliters. There's a little eyedropper in the bottle. It's a 4-ounce liquid bottle. On the eyedropper, there's a 1 milliliter mark. You fill the dropper up to the 1 milliliter mark 4 times, and you shoot it down like a shot of tequila. You do that 3 times a day. 4 mLs 3 times a day of the Good Herbs Adrenal Support on top of the Foundation Pack, and stress will roll off of your back like water from a duck.
And
no kidding. It's a remarkably effective product.
So you take that, times of stress, heavy stress,
yeah.
right? Now let's say the stress isn't so bad. Do you stop it? Do you just dial down the amount you take? What would be your recommendation on that?
Well, you do an in-house experiment.
Yeah.
And which also is apropos here for this stuff,
mm-hmm.
right? Because I can't tell you, and nobody can tell you. And if anybody tells you they can tell you, they're lying.
Right.
How many nutrients you or your brother or your mother or your sister or your kid should take on a regular basis as far as milligrams go. I can tell you what nutrients you need.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you the best formulas that your body will absorb better, but I can't tell you that you need, 150 milligrams of vitamin C and 400 IUs of vitamin E and 10 micrograms of selenium on Monday, and then we need to double that on Tuesday. Then we need to half that on Wednesday. Who the hell knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, David, if we actually did have a free medical market,
yeah, we would be able to tell that.
We would be able to tell you.
Because the studies would be done, but they're not going to do any studies on any of this.
You put your finger in a little machine and it would tell you.
Yeah.
So what do? Well, we have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So our recommendation is everybody starts with one foundation pack.
Yep.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
You do that for 8 weeks.
Yep.
See how you feel.
Yep.
If you don't really feel awesome, then double the dose
mm-hmm.
for 8 more weeks.
Mm-hmm. See where you are.
If you feel awesome, then you can fall back, take it every other day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like that. And it's the same with the add-ons, like, the adrenal support or the respiratory support or the bone and tissue support or whatever it is that we're going to do as an add-on. It's one big experiment. So the good thing about this stuff is that it is virtually impossible to take too much of it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's even possible to do it. So you don't have to worry about overdosing on it. What you do need to be worried about is not having enough.
That's right.
Because not having enough is probably the reason that you feel like crap.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Pete. Some folks, they say, I'm eating healthy, so that should be enough. Well, maybe it should be enough, but it's not enough because you're not going to get any of your nutritional requirements that you truly need.
Yeah.
Through the food.
That's a giant myth.
It is a huge myth, and frankly, it's a killer myth.
It's a killer myth.
It truly is a killer myth.
Same way that cholesterol is bad for you. That's a killer myth too.
Yeah, and you've outlined that.
There's a lot of killer myths. Oh, I have a surprise for your viewers, David.
Oh, what's that?
I almost forgot about this.
Oh, good.
So here's the deal. For the month of August, on my website, if you
leavebigpharmabehind.com.
leavebigpharmabehind.com. There it is right there.
Yeah.
leavebigpharmabehind.com.
Yeah.
I have a subscription service.
Yes.
Okay. It's a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription.
Healthy, wealthy, wise.
If you purchase a subscription on my website in the month of August,
yeah,
when you check out, there's a little place to insert a coupon code.
Yeah.
If you insert this coupon code,
healthy, wealthy, wise,
no spaces, capital H, capital W, you get a 50% discount on my subscription.
Oh, that's fantastic!
And
we also have the discount code at OperationFreedomHealth.com too. So look at this: you get the subscription side, 50% off at LeaveBigPharmaBehind.com, and 10% off on your purchase of the products at OperationFreedomHealth.com. Purchase code there is freedom. Pete, I'd like to thank you for your healthy, wealthy, and wise recommendations, and for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I thank you folks for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.